You know the zombie, right? It's this absolute icon of modern horror, showing up in everything from blockbuster movies to our favorite TV shows. But the monster we think we know? Well, it has a much deeper and honestly, a way more terrifying origin story than you can probably imagine. So let's get into it and uncover the real story.
So, what is a zombie, really? Is it just some mindless, flesh-eating monster cooked up by a plague? Or is it something else entirely? Well, here's the thing. The real answer isn't in some Hollywood script. It actually comes from the history and folklore of Haiti.
Okay, but before we dive deep into all that history, let's start with the monster we all recognize, the symbol of our modern apocalyptic obsession.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? Think about it. A vampire might get you. A werewolf might terrorize a town. But zombies threaten, well, everything. They're the ultimate metaphor for the total collapse of civilization itself.
And wow, did this obsession just explode in the 21st century. In 2002, we got those heart-pounding fast zombies. By 2004, we were laughing at them in comedies. And then, of course, 2010 gave us the TV juggernaut The Walking Dead. By 2013, they were a global box office machine. But it all begs the question, where did this creature even come from in the first place?
All right, to find the real answer, we gotta leave the movie theater behind. We're going back in time, to the rich folklore of Haiti, where the original undead was born from a fear that was incredibly real and terrifyingly specific.
So in Haitian Vodou tradition, the original monster is the zombie. And get this, it's not part of some giant infectious horde. It's a single person, a body reanimated by a sorcerer called a bokor. And its purpose isn't to eat people, it's to be an eternal, will-less slave. When you put them side by side, the difference is just staggering. The original zombie was a victim. It was a symbol of the absolute worst thing you could imagine if you were an enslaved person, losing your freedom, your very self, even after death. Our modern zombie? Totally different. It's a predator, a monster that stands in for all of our own societal fears, like pandemics or society completely falling apart.
Okay, so how on earth did we get from A to B? From this tragic, enslaved figure to a world-ending, flesh-eating plague? Well, the answer, as it so often is Hollywood. They completely reinvented this monster for the big screen.
It all really kicks off in 1968 with George A. Romero's masterpiece, Night of the Living Dead. That film gave us the blueprint, the slow, shuffling flesh eater. Then, in his sequel, he traps them in a shopping mall, and suddenly it's his brilliant, sharp commentary on consumerism. After that, we get the classic brains trope. And finally, video games like Resident Evil come along and swap out all the magic for science and bioweapons. And just like that, the modern zombie is born.
But here's a wild piece of trivia for you. The guy who basically invented the modern zombie, George A. Romero, he never once used the word zombie in that first movie. He called them ghouls. It was everybody else, the fans, the critics, who looked at these flesh eaters and made the connection back to that old Haitian word.
Okay, so we've tracked this thing from folklore all the way to the silver screen. But the story is not over. Not by a long shot. In fact, things are about to get really weird and really, well, real.
So let me ask you this. What if I told you that out there, in the real world, there are things that scientists and researchers actually call zombies?
Yeah, forget the movies for a second. Let's talk about what's happening in nature's own horror show. We've got parasitic fungi creating honest-to-goodness zombie ants, and then we have these things called zombie fires up in the Arctic that literally come back from the dead.
Okay, this is genuinely the stuff of nightmares. A fungus infects an ant, basically hijacks its brain, and forces it to climb up a leaf and clamp down with its jaws in a death grip. And then, the fungus sprouts a stalk right out of the ant's head to rain down more spores and infect others below. It's a real-life zombie plague, no fiction required.
But it's not just on this tiny microscopic scale. This real-world zombie idea, it also exists on a massive planetary scale, and it's a super chilling sign of our changing climate.
So, a zombie fire is a wildfire in the Arctic that you think is out, but it's not. It just goes underground, smoldering away in this really carbon-rich soil, and it survives the entire winter buried under snow. Then, when spring comes and things start to thaw, it can just burst back to life. It literally reanimates itself to start burning all over again.
So,
We've got zombies in folklore, in our movies, and even out there in the wild. But why? Why does this one monster have such an insane grip on our imagination? I think it's because the zombie isn't really about the dead walking. It's about us. It's because the zombie has become this perfect empty canvas for whatever we're scared of at the moment. Are you worried about the government failing in a crisis? About everyone just mindlessly conforming? A global pandemic? The zombie story can reflect all of that right back at us.
It all started with one of the deepest, most profound fears imaginable for the people of Haiti, the horror of slavery. The idea of your body, your very will being stolen from you, not just in life, but for all eternity.
Then you put it in the hands of a filmmaker like Romero, and that metaphor completely transforms. Suddenly, the monster becomes a critique of our modern lives, a mirror showing us shuffling through shopping malls, just mindlessly consuming whatever's in front of us.
And now, today, that metaphor is more powerful than ever. A giant, infectious horde that feels a little too close to home after our recent experiences with pandemics. And those zombie fires up in the Arctic? I mean, come on, that's a literal real-world manifestation of our climate crisis, a problem we thought we could bury coming back to haunt us.
See, the zombie is the one monster that's always changing because our fears are always changing. It's a mirror. It just holds itself up to whatever terrifies us most in any given era. So the only real question left is, what's it going to show us about ourselves next?